Um, yeah, that's the MO, really. So
No,
yeah, let
I
me make
agree.
sure
I think it's necessary,
make sure
man.
everyone can hear me this time. You get me?
If you
Yeah.
really want this thing, man, that's why I've understood at this point. You have to go get it. You have to go
Mm.
get it, and there's no exception, man. You either gonna and for lack of better word, you're either gonna gangster your way to this, or you're gonna let somebody just sort of, you know, shield you away from it. Because
Yeah.
let's be honest, there are gatekeepers in this whole thing that we do.
100%. hundred
You
percent.
know, you might not necessarily. A lot of people might not necessarily agree, but yeah, I've seen enough to understand that there is,
Hmm.
and I'm not mad. It just made me realize, oh my god, man. So a lot of the stuff I've done is pretty much been of instincts, but I've always sort of been ahead of my time in terms of like realizing by just revelations over the years,
Hmm.
I've sort of gotten to this space where I'm just like, man, if I never did it the way I did it so far, I'd been messed up in the game, kind of thing. Stuck, you know,
Yeah.
where it's a situation where you're sort of starting again because you never really had your own stuff to, keep the steam going. Um, and what you find as well is, normally people want to help you if you're already helping yourself.
Mm.
So that's the ultimate thing, man. To
Is that the title,
help
bro?
yourself.
Move with purpose, or is that their
Eh?
thing?
What's that?
Next to the logo.
Uh, what did I say? Where is it?
So what I can see obviously the stream, but you know the logo, the duck, right next to it says "Move with Purpose." Did you do that?
Yeah, yeah, that was the
Okay,
title.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay. I was about to say right.
I can't see it, but I kind of shut my
Okay,
screen, so
yeah,
because I have a few
okay,
windows open.
yeah. No,
But
I can.
yeah,
Brilliant
that's
name for the
the
segment.
sorry.
Brilliant name for the segment. Yeah, definitely move with
Yeah, that's
purpose.
that's really what I was thinking to explore today, man. I was just in this whole mindset, um, and I was doing a lot of research about it yesterday. Just
Mm,
I suppose the questions, or I was actually reading articles based on research. Now, some of sort of somewhat inconclusive, but there were some that sort of confirmed in a way, making their own conclusion from their own investigation that such and such, this is this kind of thing. But it's all similar along the way, or hinting that people lives longer when they have a purpose. So that was pretty much the research I was doing. There were one or two that said, what, like I said, inconclusive.
mhm.
It's a give and take situation. It doesn't necessarily improve your life expectancy, but it doesn't deter you either, kind of thing.
It
But
definitely does.
yeah, well, it's tricky. Well, with research or journals, it
Uh,
all depends on how they go about their investigation.
but I feel the
There's
role
quite a
we
few.
play, if I may just throw my little 2 cents in there, I feel the role we play,
Mm,
um, we're living proof of the quality of life you live when you do have something worth sharing. Because no way, like,
mm,
I'd be spending, like, I say this, like, I coined this term, like, I live what I write. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So there's no way I
very
could
cool.
ever see a vision of myself that wouldn't
Mm,
be like this and wouldn't just be either happy-go-lucky or just like bland, and you can just see it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like
Mm.
um, I was speaking to two friends yesterday at different times of the day, and
Yeah.
one was saying that we were talking about how destiny and like life is done. To get me, life is already
Yeah.
written, but you as the viewer, the observer, or the many names that has been given is that you determine the emotion that you bring to said life. So you can even sit there and watch the channel and just be like, "Oh, I've seen this before," but then how many
Yeah.
people have comfort shows, or how many people watch things to get
Mm.
inspiration?
Yeah.
So you can either choose to be happy with the life that you're playing or that's role playing,
Yeah.
and feed from that. That way it allows you to dive into new perspectives and just enjoy the fruits of the moments as they pass.
Yeah.
Or you can just be like, ah, there's no point, it's done, like let me just keep watching because I have to. And then either way you still have the choice, but I'm just like, I rather like enjoy what's on screen, so that way I can like enjoy and tap into the childlike essence of exploring life, exploring creativity, and
Yeah.
finding these questions and answers that people sometimes forget are worth asking as they go on through their life. So
That's real. That's real. Um, Maybe on a grander scale, sort of on a macro scale,
mm,
for me personally, there's two ways about it. It's either and it's all pretty much interrelated or surrounding, going back and forth around sacrifice.
mm,
And the biggest sacrifice I know of is time. That's the biggest greatest currency. So
mm.
a lot of people, they think, I'm in a comfortable place. I'm watching TV, etc., etc. But to me, you're sacrificing time, you know, and that's the one thing we can't get back. That's the one thing we can't waste. We can't get enough of. We have too little of it as it is. So for me personally, to over exercise my right to watch TV is somewhat of a it's a child's game, and sometimes I see, to me, that situation is like, you don't even know what you're doing, you know,
But depends what
you're
you
sort of
watch.
hurting yourself. Sorry.
It depends what you watch, and I use the analogy of my life being on that screen. So imagine your day to day, your excursions, your um like discoveries, the banging your head against the wall. Imagine all
Yeah.
that playing out on the screen, which is i.e. your life.
Mm.
You have the goal in mind, which is what
Yeah.
drives your actions, your encounters, the things that you can control and the ones that you can't.
Yeah.
Ideally, those all play out, but it's the enthusiasm is what um, makes me enjoy the experience of it all.
Mm.
And I think
I
with that, then comes the appreciation for me to be like, okay, the urgency needs to be backed by the actions that I take in order to enjoy the experience and the plants that I sow.
mm. Well, like I said, it sounds to me like you have a lot of thought behind what you're saying, which
Most
is
definitely.
it's necessary. It sounds like there's purpose behind it. You get what I mean? It's not just, you're just not just watching TV for the sake
Oh
of
yeah,
watching
no, no, no,
TV.
no, no,
You're
definitely not.
getting, yeah. So that when I was speaking about, that's what I was talking about.
Okay, got you, got you.
Um, and don't get me wrong. There's even times when you need to switch off, but that's not
Mm,
technically wasting your time, because by you switching off, you're actually actively trying to recover.
yes.
That's rest time. and rest time give you the energy, gives you the rehab, so you can be better for when you do switch back on. So to me, that's a different light. That's a different purpose, but it's all adding to the grand scheme. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I
So,
think
so
where I'm at.
that's where I go with it. Go
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I was just gonna add that I feel like where I'm at right now
on.
is having fun with it. Like, and what that means to me is I actively enjoy when I come against new concepts or old or things that help me break down why things are the way they are, so that way I can move forward once I've
Yeah.
taken down that new information. So it could be, and that source of inspiration could come from anyone or anything,
Mm,
while
yeah.
applying my own expectations and day-to-day routines that need to be complete. I'm grateful to myself that I can still make the time for my
Yeah.
environment to reflect what I need to see and understand. And it's why when you tell someone, "Oh, I don't drink," for example,
Yeah.
and their eyes just lose their minds, like,
Yeah.
what do you mean, how do you function? And I'm like, quite easy. I see who I need to be in an environment where that's around, um,
Mm,
as opposed to relying on that for me to say things a bit more recklessly. It's like, that's what they call it, liquid courage. It's like, nah, if I'm not drinking, I
liquid
want,
courage. Yeah.
just give me the courage. You get me? I'd rather do that
Mm,
myself. Um, so yeah, it's just it's an interesting time, and I think it's a great time because a lot of the conversations I'm having, people around me are just like, you know what do I have to lose?
that's real talk.
All this cowering or trying to make the perfect rollout, or when I get this, then I can do that. Speaking for myself as well, 100%. But it's
Yeah.
just, you just get to a point where it's just like, if not now, when?
There you go. That's the question. See, we're going back to time now.
Oh, 100%. It like it's the like you said, it's the most expensive recipe to um any formula, like however you
Mm,
want to spin it. Um, but I rather dance than be aggressive with it, because like what I always come back to what we do in our own rights and spaces is like um helping ourselves and people who want to listen to be like, look, um you know, you can have a better relationship with yourself, and trust me, that translates into having a better relationship with what you do, because I'm sure when people read your works, they pick up on who you are and your currency being put into that, as opposed to them reading it and they're just being like, facts say this and this, and I'm like, bro,
mm,
I don't need that. Where's you? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all people are looking for. Where are you in what you present?
that's real talk. Real talk. Yes, you're very right. And that's why, whatever you do, man, you have to put your all into it, and you also have to put yourself into it,
Mm.
because you know I can't remember where I was listening, what where I was listening to today, and it's sort of it's going back to legacy at the same time, because nobody's going to remember you when you go, but they might remember something you did, something you left behind. And it reminds me of a conversation I had with a guest of mine. His name was
Hmm.
Mario Wissa, and this conversation sort of went into the evolution of culture kind of thing,
Oh.
and the fact, if you think about culture,
Hmm.
and culture that sort of transcends generations, that creates an evolution. If that culture can maintain living, could you imagine how much it could advance and how much it could help people? I suppose when you think about it, that's pretty much. There's so many facets, and it's such a wide range thing. But I
Yeah,
suppose
because
we
bro,
can
this is
sort of
giving
make
X-Men
it a bit
vibes
more
right now.
specific.
It's
Huh?
giving X-Men vibes right now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like you, I
Hmm.
mean, look where we are. Look where we are now. The culture of intelligence, right?
Yeah.
It all started with fire. You know, a caveman just.
Mm.
You get what I mean? Creating fire, and out of nowhere, we start understanding physics. We start creating electricity, our own. You know what I mean? Our own electricity, electrical devices. I mean, me personally, I think all those things that we go through right now,
Hmm.
including the where the machines, like the cars and
Yeah.
everything is concerned, I think it all starts with the body.
100%.
Perhaps an animal, because at first that was like a taboo, an abomination to be cutting through and looking through somebody's body, especially in those days
Yeah,
religion
yeah, yeah,
ran
yeah, yeah.
so strong.
Yeah.
So that's off the charts
And what did it
until
say about being able to cure that without doing that? That's what had me.
yeah,
That's what had me.
exactly. And so what I'm saying is, evolution, sorry, the culture of
Hmm.
evolution, sorry, the culture of intelligence, but for example, it just sort of transcended over so many years to where we are right now, that we're seeing, people carrying around what used to be like a gigantic computer in their pockets.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? And it's amazing to when you see everything on a macro scale pertaining to hindsight, it's off the charts, man. It's just it's amazing just to kind of wonder. And don't forget, like, we don't necessarily we haven't lived in these times. So
Mm.
it's good to just sort of have a viewpoint on it. Sort of like a fly on the wall, the historical wall, and just see
Yeah.
things come to fruition over time, given a certain context from an informational standpoint. So that's where I'm looking at it from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but I do have a question for you regarding that, bro.
Mm.
With um, information now being crammed to be more um edible,
Yeah,
and just like smaller, like just see it gone, just like flashcards, if you will.
yeah.
Um, mixed with the evolution of culture, how does that look? Because I don't
Hmm.
think people read enough now.
I think, man, it's such a dangerous road.
Hmm.
It's such a dangerous road because it seems to me that um, the culture is not necessarily prominent enough to withstand the influence of the culture that might be what comes from the electronics and all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. It's
Hmm.
like it's like a fight. Do you get what I mean? A power battle between the two.
Yeah,
The culture of the human and what we know as, like, what, this is the norm. We are social beings,
man versus
but
machine, innit?
man versus machine. And as much as we're saying, we control the machines, etc., etc., it seems to me that the culture is shifting, prioritizing the machines.
Mm.
And you know what it is? The worst part is the machines are not necessarily conscious to that degree
Yet.
yet. Do you get what I mean?
Ah.
So what happens when this culture of the machines, speaking of intelligence again,
Mm.
what's going to happen when it gets to this echelon where, man, influence
Oh.
they can influence
Um.
us
y-
like we influence them.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Mm,
Yeah, I can see that because there's been a lot of test runs
mm,
that play out where if an organism is brought to life,
yeah,
um, the first, most strongest instinct to fulfill is to learn about its existence and its environment. So that way it can make sense of where it is and why it is. After that, it
yeah,
starts to explore social dynamics because to find its place and then go through the pros and cons of the quality of said existence and its environment. And what studies always tend to show is that um, tech will always source out the common factor that causes the harm to the quality of life of the environment that it's in. So beyond that, I'd say that's from a social standpoint. But when it goes beyond that, then um, like you said, the smarter they get, the more they might
mm,
say, okay, well, if you've given us this much trust to
yeah,
dictate, the menial tasks to thinking and creativity, at this point, they might push themselves further to say, okay, we still need you in the fold to do
yeah,
things on the
mm,
physical plane. So,
yeah.
yeah, I wonder what they would want to play out, I guess, which would be interesting.
It's crazy.
Oh,
It's crazy.
we're there now. I think, yeah,
Mm,
I think we're there through repetition. Because, mind you, now I'm seeing it as a phrase, depending on who I'm having a conversation with.
mm,
When it comes to a person's thoughts, I say, tell me what you think, not what the internet says.
mm. Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
then
I'm
after
glad you
that,
said that.
because then
Glad
it's
you said
like, okay, that's just the consensus of what people are agreeing with online just to seem like
that.
safe
Mm,
and highly regarded online. But then
correct.
for someone to ask you, don't tell me what that says, what do you think? Is already
Mm.
alarm bells.
Yeah, you're just being politically friendly,
Mm.
you know.
Now you can't
Um,
they're trying to bring that here, so to speak. And
yeah,
it's getting stronger every day.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you want to somewhat juxtapose the whole thing, but still stay on topic, if you think about what we're going through right now,
Mm.
like, certain people, they're talking this narrative where it's just like, oh man, I'm trying to feed your mind to think like the rest,
Yeah.
be a sheep like me, kind of thing.
Mm.
Could you imagine religion when we're just starting 10,000 years ago? And these
Uh,
man's coming through, talking to the Buddhists, etc., that's been
mhm.
around for so long, and there's a new religion, and they're trying to expand. They're trying to, get out there,
Mad,
get
isn't
new
it?
followers. Could you
Mad.
imagine how they sound compared to how this political, situation that they have going on, how it sounds now? Is it
Yeah,
much
yeah, yeah.
different? Is there much
Uh, I
different?
feel there's always going to be similarities between past and present, in it. But
Mm,
I think with every new way of thinking that comes along, it just strays further away from the connection we have to what brought us here in the first place.
yes,
Because
yes,
it's like they say, the older you get, the different the older the system, you just give it a new name. for people to just
Mm.
understand it at this current time. But it's all the same. So when
It's all the
people
same.
come and say, no, like, I don't want nothing to do with that, it's like, well, fine, um, more power to you, but eventually, what the more isolation you try and create for yourself, the more harder you're just going to make things are for yourself.
Correct. 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 All right, Stinks. Seeing as we warmed up a little bit, let me spit something for you, and then you can I'll let you go down the rabbit hole. Tell me what you see.
Let's go, man.
It says, there's a quote. I speak to the meek in need of reprieve, talking to the world like the man on the ledge, talking about the need to live. To the ill advised to think twice, take more time to be wise. The world was more than what they tell of it from their surmise. The carnage that hangs in the tunnels, perhaps we could change our fate to disassociate from the ideals of the disenfranchised. The mentality is paralysis synonymous. Semantics like fabrics resolve around it. Tainted is the resolve, so much so that one cannot solve. Growing with the crowd that you never heard your mind screaming loud. That's it.
Yeah, bro. Basic, basically, what were you talking about?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
What did they say? What's that saying? The meek shall inherit the earth, or
Real,
or they?
real talk.
Yeah,
Real talk.
definitely.
Mm. So it's a lot of food for thought, man.
Yeah,
And so
definitely.
and because of this now, this piece, this is some of the things that had me
Hmm.
in thought. First one, are we growing smarter in language or simply regressing? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Are we just better at speaking language, or overall we're really just regressing? That's reality of this whole
I tell
situation.
people, when I say how do you spell something, the first thing they say is, "Aren't you right?" I say yeah, but I didn't say I'm good at English. Like, who told you? Do you know what I mean? Like, um,
Mm,
because I never started to like the language when I started to understand the power of emotion, or what you were trying to say with just words. Past that, when
yeah.
I started to grasp that as a young one, it's like, okay, because I was like, why doesn't this translate into the exams?
Mm,
And I was like, nah, man, this ain't it. And then you go on your own
mm,
path, try and make understanding of what it is that you're trying to feel, and
yeah. Yeah.
it's why I'm still, or I've gotten a lot better at trying to translate what I mean through these
Mm,
languages. I'm doing okay, but it's still a quest that I enjoy going on, because sometimes no words or a different language
mm,
gets across 10 times harder than trying to find the perfect words to say. But then it might be the language that is the one that keeps us trapped from really getting that through. So,
yeah.
and
Do you
even what you
think?
said about, sorry, the guy on the ledge,
Yeah.
I'm sure we've had plenty of conversations with bystanders, people that we know, people that we work with, and you get that look, and I'm like, well, this is normal to me. You probably ain't never had this kind of thought process before,
Yeah.
but you know, I'm not saying get used to it, but please believe there are people out there who think very differently to people that
Yeah.
you are around on a constant
Mm,
basis.
absolutely.
Oh, bro, you're deep,
Absolutely.
and I'm like, brother, we haven't scratched no surface yet. Nothing. Okay, I'm trying not to for your sake.
Mhm. That's real talk.
Yeah, you had a question, bro.
Real
Sorry.
talk. Um, what was I thinking? It was. It'll come back to me. But
Pertaining to.
shoot. It was something you said that I was that gave me a thought. But it
Mhm.
will come back to me. It always does.
Was it
But
the English?
sorry.
Was it the English?
Yes, yes. You were just reminding me. So essentially, what I was trying to say was, or what I was thinking about was, sometimes people don't necessarily take you serious, even though you're telling them the real. And it makes me wonder. Now, might be a
Hi.
little bit of a trivial question. But it
Mm.
makes me wonder: is it what you're saying, or is it who's saying what you're saying, or is it who's
Ooh,
saying it?
you know
You get
what?
what I mean?
Yeah. In my experiences,
Mm,
um, I'd always say if someone else said the exact same thing that I said, you'd listen to them.
yeah. Mm,
So, but it just the person who's saying it would be dressed up in a certain way for them to take in the image first, so
yeah.
that way the words can land softer.
Real talk.
It's like how people say, if a homeless man gives you advice, most people wouldn't take it.
It's real talk.
But if a
Yeah, they
crook
would
tells you
take
the same thing because he's flashy, you're going to be like, hmm. So,
it. Real
so one
talk.
of the things that I had to learn very early is that you never know where a piece of advice, you never know where a gem could come from.
Yes, I agree with that. Here's another food for thought.
Hmm.
Are we conflicted between the subjective and the objective? Meaning our choice or viewpoint is always one that lacks a sight with range.
Could you break that down further?
So a lot of times, people can't see beyond their subjective lens,
Okay. I.e.,
but
circumstances.
they strive to be objective. And so there's a struggle between the two, trying to find, you know, the light between the two and then balance between the two to say that, you know what, I might think this, but this is what it really is,
Ooh.
excluding my feelings out of this.
Okay. Yeah. One has to break.
Mm.
One has to,
But
because the
but
more
in,
you
in
try to.
essence, you spend so much time. No, I'm just gonna say, in essence, you spend so much time trying to fight either side
Mhm.
or either or that you lack the sight
Ooh,
to
you know
see
what that
anything.
really is though?
Mm.
Back in the Tom and Jerry, what's on one side?
Yeah,
You
back
know
in the
what I mean?
day.
Yeah.
Mm.
Bro, oh man, it's crazy. Um, it's always been there all along, but that's exactly what it is. They just made it, they just dumbed it down to good and bad. But
Yes,
again, depending
yes.
how far you stretch your subjective
Hmm.
lens, as you say, um,
Yeah,
nothing is really bad or nothing is really good.
nothing is really bad, nothing really good. I mean, just tapping into, as an example, not
Hmm.
necessarily going a deep dive. You think about there's always an opposing. So if you have, like, say, evil, you're always going to
Hmm.
have good,
Yeah.
whichever comes first. There's always
As
going to
old
be
as each
another
other.
side. Mm. You have a dictator, you're always going to have the oppressor.
Hmm.
So you're always going to have the rebels.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And so this is something this is the example I'm leading to. I had a long time, God came and then the devil came. You know,
Hmm.
it's the ultimate, somewhat ceremonial of the contrarian, isn't it? There's always going to be an opposing force. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean one is, and then obviously, everybody have their own definition. But what
Hmm.
is really good, what is really evil, you know?
Well, again, I think you put in the practice to then take a look at both sides and say, who's funding this war? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so,
Like, who's
yeah.
funding it? Um, but along those lines, it's just becomes a case of if you do too much of both,
Mm,
you'd be stuck.
yeah, yeah,
And I know people that still look at, well, you have to pick a side. You can't just wander off into the valley. And it's like, yeah, well, even when they're done wandering, they still come back here.
yeah. True.
So it's not like we've just detached and said, oh no, like no one should be going through anything. It's not real. It doesn't exist. I'm like,
Mm,
bro, please, as long as I got this skin, as long as I'm
yeah,
playing this game, certain things aren't just gonna, certain things are gonna fly. But
truth.
it's how
True.
long I stay fixated on those things is where I have the choice.
Mm. If we could just play this, um, let's just make this disclaimer.
Hmm.
I don't do you herd mentality, but we're going to entertain it for this
Yeah, I
just
bet.
this question:
Mhm.
what do we want from this world? Or like what do we want from this world, man?
Is that a question?
So much is going on. Yeah, that's the question.
Oh,
What do we want
bro,
from
I
this
want
world?
nothing. I want me. That's what I want. Me.
Mm,
I want me. Because I always, for a long time now, I've always said, if this world wasn't the way it was,
yeah.
start the game over.
Oof. Yeah.
Because there'd be no growth, there'd be no conflict. Every great story
Mm,
has conflict.
very true.
And even
No,
going
you're
to
right.
what
You're
you
right.
said as
You're right.
well. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
if I wasn't here challenging myself, or being put in circumstances, back to my TV scenario again, like,
Yeah.
because it's like, where's the bad guy, or where's the guy that's gonna save the day? Well, until you realize you play both roles,
Mm,
you're going to be chasing one role or the other. And then when you come to that crossroad, you're like, why do I feel like I'm losing my grip on reality? Well, because it's like, you did one or the other too much. You were too good, overexert, overexhausting yourself, thinking that you need to do,
yeah.
and then you were taking too much, and you're like, damn, have I taken too much?
That's real.
So it's not
That's real.
about, I wouldn't say finding a medium, but it's just like I say I want me in this world because it's like I'm the one that sees what I see. That's it.
Mm,
You can tell me what you see, but I'll see what you completely different.
yeah.
But it's the subjectiveness that you develop which helps me understand the details in what you're seeing.
Mm.
A lot of people don't want to
Tribalism.
see the details, man.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I mean, it's Do you think tribalism is counterproductive from what you've seen?
What do you mean, tribalism?
Tribalism in terms of like, group mentality, um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like, just being part of a tribe. And, if you know about a tribe, it's like all in one. So we do as one, etc.,
Community.
etc. Mm.
Um. So are you
But we're
saying
speaking about the mentality, though.
okay, okay? So you're asking if the mentality that comes with that is purposeful?
It is it a double-headed sword, perhaps, or is it
Yeah, 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 yeah. Of course.
hmm,
But I think a healthy tribe
yeah.
will inspire those who are part of the community to be like, look, um, this is the way of the world, but you are your own individual.
Mm,
Because you said at the beginning of this
mm.
stream, um, I might even have to call it river at this point because I'm like, ain't nobody control me. You know what I mean?
Why not?
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're social creatures. And I feel a big portion of what we are meant to do here is find those people that we can connect with.
Makes sense.
And then when you do that, it clicks. But it
Mm,
clicking is taking 1,000 tries for it to just hit that time.
mm,
Because it just cuts through so much like explaining or listing, oh, this is why I agree with this. Like, brother, do you get it? Yes. Let's go. You know what I mean? And then you just like grow together. But I think the double-headed sword is when um, there's no room for individuality. That's when it becomes dangerous
mm,
because someone will just cuddle you and be like, I see that you're trying to grow, but stay
mm.
here. And then it's like, wait, what? But you've been telling us to go out there. You're like, yeah, no, no, I just be saying that just to sound a certain way.
Stop
But
right there.
really,
Stop right there.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
You just said that's the reason why I asked you the question.
Hmm.
Individuality. You're in a tribe mentality. You're in a tribe. You're in a tribe
Yeah.
along with the tribal mentality.
Well, yeah,
It's still hard to
oh,
be an
okay.
individual.
Yeah, definitely. No, I still stand on my answer because when you find someone who's
Mm,
who's still trying to who's on their path of individuality, you'll get it.
yeah.
So it's a hub that um of some sorts, but it's bigger than us.
I just add this part.
Hmm.
By your definition, though, that means once you to keep on growing, to keep on expanding, you have to. Doesn't that mean you have to exclude yourself from the tribe?
You can, by all means, try because that's part of it. But then eventually,
Are you
um,
saying you're supposed to graduate from the tribe?
yeah, because once you do that, you'll see, you know what, I can do it. It's like what I was saying about you can't get rich by yourself.
Hmm.
You can do all that by yourself, but then once you see how many like sheep are out there, you're going to be like, man, being around a lot of sheep is tiring.
Unless you're the wolf.
Or you're the shepherd.
Good point. But that
But
means it's like two pieces of the coin, isn't it? Something like
definitely,
the
where
Joker
the
and
other
Batman.
shepherds at and where the wolves at.
And we know we're gonna go into your realm right now, but that's like the Joker and Batman.
Hmm.
They need each other.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, ooh. All right. Ooh, we got time?
Yeah, go
'Cause
ahead.
that reminds me of something I did on my blog.
Go and tell us about your blog.
Yeah. So started this in lockdown as you do. I just needed a way to let my thoughts out, and I haven't looked back since. And um, a friend of mine told me that I need to be more direct, and I appreciate that because now it's like, okay, um, I have to say things a bit more openly so that way you can't misconstrue what I'm saying, or not everyone likes doing mental gymnastics as much as I do.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
feel,
Everybody's a thinker. Or wants to
yeah,
think.
yeah. So I just gotta come out and say it like just plainly enough for me to break down what it is I'm saying. So that's a new chapter for me, but I'm ready to open that with doors. So the blog started out with me breaking down what films, television, the things that I
Yeah.
watch acutely communicate to my spirit, and I relay that. And then over time, it's turned into like thoughts that I have, sometimes non-film related, and it's just becoming a platform for me, and we're just looking to evolve that. But the Batman
Mm-hmm.
one, um, a animation came out 2010, Batman Under the Red Hood. Absolute masterpiece from Warner Brothers, if I
I
might say
know it.
so
I've seen it.
myself. Yes. Um, and there's a piece in there I wrote um, about their dynamic. Um, if I can just find, yes. I don't know what clouds your judgment worse, your guilt or your antiquated sense of morality. Bruce,
Ooh.
I forgive you for not saving me, but why on God's earth is he, i.e., the Joker, still alive? So that quote
Yeah.
stuck with me because at the time it was Bruce or Batman, the Joker, and Robin.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
felt those three are a triangle. Um,
Yeah.
Robin is the father, and Robin is his younger self,
Mm.
and the Joker is his adversary, the one that makes him sharper and keeps going and makes him takes a peek into what he won't do and the opposite. So, but in the film,
Stay right
it,
there. Stay right
Mhm.
there. I can follow you. So this is what we're gonna do. Do you remember? Um, I think they called it something to do with Superman and Darkseid
Mhm.
took over. Superman went dark. Superman was the actual one um, in any of the comics that actually end up killing the Joker.
I think so. Yeah.
It might have been the movie, but essentially, you good? Yeah,
Yeah.
Superman ended up killing the Joker. So
Mhm.
now you just pause for a sec. Um, because the Joker killed Lewis in the story as the storyline goes.
Ooh.
So this Joker killed Lewis.
Mhm.
Lewis Lane, Superman's woman. Superman went dark, and he's the one that ended up killing the Joker. And then after that, Darkseid came and took over the Earth and pretty much brainwashed Superman,
Mhm.
and Superman went dark from there, basically.
Oh,
So
I
I'm
need to
saying all
see
this to
that.
say, I'm saying all this to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine Bruce was the one that actually did what Superman did. I mean, can we blame him for not? With that in mind, can we blame him for not killing the Joker? Because I think Batman more than anybody knows what darkness is and what darkness can do.
Mm.
As you know, he's danced on the line the whole time he's been Batman,
Mhm.
but he's never actually stepped over the line
So does he
into
know darkness then?
to the great beyond. You have to. You have
I
to.
agree. I
I
agree.
think he knows darkness, but not necessarily fully embraced
That's why people
darkness
like
as a
Bane
whole.
in that movie.
Mm. Yeah, because Bane embraced darkness
Mm.
as a whole.
He said
I
Batman was a
think
pretty boy.
pretty much. But think about it. I think what I'm trying to say with the Superman
Hmm.
analogy is, or the example is that in that moment, Superman embraced darkness as a whole,
Yeah,
and he was never the same. And I think that's one of the things you can say about Batman. He never totally embraced darkness to the point where he can't pull himself
go
back
back. Right.
to the light.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like people, question, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well, I didn't do it because I know what that means for me, what that means for my future. I have
Yeah.
no future.
I, hun- I
Unless I
100%
have to
agree.
embrace the darkness at that point, that's all I have left. I'll never see the
100%
light
agree.
again. You never
Mm.
be the same, you know? Which brings me to this question now.
Mm.
Are we destined? Sorry, not there yet. Do we relate enough to save us from our own potential destruction?
Say that again, please,
Uh,
bro.
Do we relate enough to save us from our own potential destruction?
Do we relate? Just
And let me break it down.
please.
I'm basically saying that do we have do we do we have enough in common? Do we want to connect to each other? Do we agree more than we disagree, or do we disagree more than we agree?
With
Meaning that,
mankind?
yes, meaning
Oh,
that, there's potential for us to kind of sort of find a balance where we don't cause our own destruction. As you can see,
hmm,
the most destructive, most destruction happened from us, through us. So it only makes sense that if things were supposed to be go boom one day and nothing but dirt left,
hmm.
it would be because of us. So it just had me curious. Do we relate enough to somewhat find a commonality to avoid our own potential destruction in the end?
Yeah, we do. We definitely do. Because I think that's why we can understand why we do it. Doesn't mean I need to follow
Mm.
through with it. That's a white man problem.
Mm.
But
Warmong.
it's true.
Clearly, you haven't heard of Idi Amin, but
No, I'm serious. Um, I say that because back to what you said about a subjective state of mind.
yeah.
You it has to go that far for you to
Mm.
understand. I feel the the geniuses in different timelines
Yeah.
tap into darkness in order to come back to the light to be like, it's not worth it. That's all it is.
Mm.
You could go, you could try, but you're just going to be like, oh man, I should have done that, Like, but that's how we learn.
You say it like it's that simple though. Like,
And it should be though.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But don't get me
That's why I
wrong.
said, mm,
Seeking balance and just like embracing darkness as a whole, it's two different things. Like I got one in each hand. That's different, as opposed to just like one hand holding one, two hands holding one.
hmm.
Like give it to me kind of thing. I think that's something different. I think when you speak about somebody like the Joker, that's pretty much what he's trying to do. that's him just on one side. I just want darkness.
Hmm.
It's kind of like, you know, the whole. I suppose you could say the definition of a hero and a superhero. Sorry,
But let
a
me,
hero and a villain.
yeah.
You know, one is embracing the whole darkness, and one is trying to embrace the whole light.
But I'll ask. Let me ask you
And then
this.
you
Who?
have certain in between, like
Mhm.
Batman. Yeah, he's just like mostly darkness, but I do have some light with me, like 25%. To get
Yeah. But my
what's your
question
question?
is, who do you think is living a more fulfilled life?
Uh, Between the villain and the hero.
Mm.
Mm.
Or Batman and the Joker? And take fulfilled as far as you want.
Oh, that's a deep one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Mad Point Podcast.
Crazy.
So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, big bro. That's really where I'm at.
Well, in terms of if you think of a canvas
Hmm.
and I was going to paint a variety of different colors, as much variety as I can think of, I would have to say Batman.
Mm.
He's the most accomplished when it comes to, you know, just painting different facets of his being. One could argue he's probably a genius,
Oh, definitely.
you know,
I think they both are.
the strategist. Oh, that's deep as well.
Did you
If you
get
think
me?
about,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But that's not his selling point.
but this is the thing. The reason why I say that as well, think about it, the wisdom, the skill, the foresight,
Mm.
so
Joker
many
got that
different
too.
things. I think, hmm?
Joker got that too.
Yes, but I think the difference is Joker is he's great in just one spectrum of the canvas, in just one
Mm.
color. He's just like absolutely a giant. He's kind of like it's kind of like I suppose you could say Batman would be similar to somebody like Thanos, where
No,
like he
no.
does so many. No, not on that level, but
No,
on a
no, no. And
smaller scale,
I'm still with you. I still say
he
no.
does so many different things well. Thanos does a lot of different things, but
Okay,
Batman does
okay.
a lot of things well. The Joker does, I
So
said,
Batman
minuscule
has more
amount,
detail, is what you're saying.
definitely,
Okay, I understand.
and
Yeah,
he's so
I
much
agree.
more accomplished with the way he utilizes his different skills and in his skill set.
Hmm.
Whereas the Joker, he's just a madman, and he don't care what kind of color comes.
Yeah, that's
He just
ingenious as
splashes.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, he just splashes, and somehow because he's such a bloody he's so talented, you could say,
Hmm.
it just works.
But
He can't
I,
get it wrong.
that's the thing. I ask, um, with the Joker, why
Mm,
why can't he be seen as refined in what he does?
mm. Why can't he seen? Can't he
Why
be
can't he
seen
be
and
seen
refined?
as refined? Because if you
Because
say he's great in all things,
mm,
he's still great. There's still some form of discipline and refinery there.
no, I'm
He
saying
just
he's
doesn't
great in
hang.
one spectrum,
Okay,
but
I'm
it's
saying he's great in all.
monumental.
Yeah,
You think he's great in all?
yeah, definitely. Is why
I
he's
don't
such
know
a
about
great
that.
adversary for Batman.
No, I don't see it. I don't see it like that. I think what he's great in, it's a skill set. It's one skill set, but it just has so many bloody nettles and thing along. It's like, a knife,
Yeah.
but it's got so many bloody splinters and what do you call it? Pasted with glue,
Hmm.
broken glass on it, and all kind of madness. So all you have to do is just, if he slice you, that's like 50 stitches. Do you get what I mean? It's just like,
Okay.
it's the damage is just like, it's like an explosive
Right.
when he goes and he does something, as opposed to Batman. You have to remember, he has to be so much more critical because he's trying to save lives and he's not trying to take anybody's lives, including villains. So he's so much more precision. The only risk he ever allows is 1,000 paper cuts where you might bleed out.
Okay.
But the Joker, he's relentless. But somehow, some way, Batman still has to find a way to kill, well, to not kill
Yeah.
while capturing and saving life.
Mm.
So it's so much more of a stress, and you have to remember the restraint factor as well. Because I actually really do want to kill this guy. Do you get what I
Yeah.
mean?
I definitely. I feel it's why I loved Batman growing up as a child. When you do grow through the different levels of adolescence, you start
Mm,
to understand the human plight. But
yes.
because when you say dabbling into the darkness and the madness,
Mm,
is why I'm just like, there's I'm removing cautiously the restraints to understand um the Joker as I do age as well. Because
mm,
the infancy stage of admiring him is, again, no consequences, no consequences. He's wild. He can does what he wants. But then when I ask these tough questions, I start to agree and say yes, he can, because he, and that's why I say, like, because his other attributes are not really highlighted in his story, people just say, oh, he's great at what he does because he does it with a certain finesse. But in order to know how Batman thinks, to push his
mm,
buttons,
yeah.
that's, you got to give him a lot of credit as well, because
Oh no,
that
no, I'm not
makes,
saying
yeah,
Joker mediocre in any way. I think Joker's a
yeah,
genius in his own right.
right, yeah. So
But I'm just
I'm,
saying it's not
yeah,
widespread as Batman.
yeah.
But
No,
he's a
I
genius when
can
it
see
comes to what
that.
he does.
Yeah, I can see that. I will just, I feel right now I'm just more on exploring what the Joker's genius looks like a bit more, because it
Mm,
just gets blindsided. And it's like, why not let me take my detective skills into the mind of the Joker a bit more in my way, as opposed to just, oh, there's carnage, there's blood, and I'm like, no, there's the same thing that I would do for Batman. Let me do that with the
mm.
Joker, like break him down a bit more.
Don't get me wrong though.
Mm,
I'm not saying I can't relate to Joker.
mm.
Um, actually, being a person that writes stories as well, it's sort of kind of brought me closer to villains.
Damn right.
So, I write about killers and stuff like that, with my crime fiction stories that I
Mm,
create. So I've sort of grown to understand the plight of a villain.
hmm.
And Joker's one of my favorite villains, truth be told. You know, the one thing about Joker, you have to say, and it reminds me of myself in terms of like being a mad poet.
Mm.
He be talking some real
Oh,
stuff,
listen,
man.
what?
It's just that he comes with some jokes afterwards. You get me? He be laughing, but if you listen to what he's saying, it's just off the charts realness. Like he's real.
Absolutely. So, and I'm glad you say that, because then for him to pull out those truths from the world that he lives in, it's like,
Mm,
okay, I want to go there to find out how you got those truths and to still laugh.
mm.
So yeah, we
Yeah.
need they've been doing this dance for 80 years. because it represents how if you're too good, there's too many restraints, and if you're too um, relentless, then there's no control. So it's just learning how to
Yeah,
dance
yeah.
and enjoy this existence while we're here. So I just want
I
to enjoy
suppose
that.
you could argue they somewhat keep each other human.
Oh, definitely. Because when the Joker's like, when Batman's on holiday, he's bored.
Nah, I think if Batman's on holiday, Joker goes God mode.
Oh, that came into my mind from the animated series that came out in the 2000s, or one of them. He even says he's like, "Oh, where's Batman? I'm bored." So for
No, I understand what you mean, but what I'm
yeah.
saying is, I'm coming from a different direction.
Oh right,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying
Okay, no Batman. Yeah, he's off the rails.
if he's not there to stop him,
Yeah.
if Batman is not there to stop Joker, Joker goes God mode. Do you get what I mean? Where it's just like, now I control life and death. Do you get what I
Mm.
mean?
And vice versa with
If
bats.
and vice versa. And Batman, if Joker's not there, Batman really and truly goes God mode. All the criminals are locked up.
And then
You know,
what
have
happens
to
to
solve
bats?
crime
Not possible.
essentially.
But
You know,
it's yeah, it's great, man, what they represent, like on the grand scheme of things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's quite interesting.
Very.
Hmm. I do have a few more questions, but
Yeah.
we just hit the hour mark, so just reevaluating, I suppose.
Cool.
But okay, are we destined to a finite existence as a race? Because in the end, we simply cannot get along.
Hmm. Comes back to what you said about tribalism.
Mm.
But as a race, man, I assume human race, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Like, um, essentially, if you're not here to evolve, then you live a very restricted life. Um,
Do you think
and
it's the natural way of nature where
absolutely.
all of this strong survives?
Uh, yes, yeah, it is. Um, but because we are in these bodies, as you will,
Mm.
people will always think nature is um like just very childlike life and death. And
Mm.
I'm like, what is the most complicated system in existence?
Yeah.
So therefore we mirror that. So our equivalent, I believe, is um if we don't seek to understand ourselves as individuals, then as a group,
Mm.
you know, you know, it's the I think the few outweigh the many. It's always how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Like there's more weeds than there are actually trees, for example. You know what I'm saying? You clear the weeds, you can everyone gets food, clean air, fertile soil. But with all the weeds there, it's just like, oh, I don't want to go near that. Yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
that's how I see it, man. Just like make it simple so I can figure out how to figure out who I am and um enjoy this existence, honestly. And the people that I come across, they're their own um I think my OG says that the elders are libraries, and when they
Griots.
pass, um, we yeah, they're libraries. So I think he said that when they pass over, that's a
Mm.
whole library gone. Not
Yeah,
many
that's
people
the
are trying to.
technical term is a griot. That's what I was
Okay,
saying.
yeah, my fault. Yeah, not many people are trying to be libraries, or not many people are destined to be libraries.
Correct. Correct. I
But
agree.
they are the ones that record, you know, um, moments in time, or help clear to give us understanding of truths and understanding that we've been looking for.
Mm. Yeah. No, that's interesting. That's interesting. When I asked that question, the first thing that came to mind was Terminator,
Mm,
finite existence, right?
still waiting for Skynet, man.
But essentially, what I'm trying to say is,
Hmm.
once the machines took over, it doesn't get more finite than that.
That's it, done.
You're hiding, you're
Mm,
surviving. They pick you apart at the will. You can't hide anyway. You can only run so far.
yeah.
That strikes me as a finite existence.
Yes. Okay.
You know,
Definitely agree.
can we agree to disagree? Final question.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, you met humans before, so
Oh, definitely. Because I'm just like, look, man. Um, what helps give me life
mm,
explains and mirrors the quality and the experiences that I attract and that the ones that I create. So for those who disagree, I'm like, hey, good luck to you, man. Like, make the most of what you have. But best believe those same humans, they come to that crossroads and they think about the people or the experiences that can give them more insight into the lives that they've chosen to live. I feel that's a chemical reaction, a time bomb, because something just has to click. I think there's
mm,
yeah, to summarize, um, if this is the last question, there's a theory that somewhat, I don't know the name of it. I'm not good with remembering these supreme terminologies or whatnot, but um, they're saying that everyone is given a chance to answer the call to be
mm,
able to wake up. So, you know, because most people don't accept the call, does
yeah.
it ever stop ringing?
Mm.
It's my Christopher Nolan
To
shit.
your
God
point.
damn.
Mm. In other words, did the tree really fall?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Ignorance is bliss, as they say.
Hmm.
So if you're not paying attention, it doesn't matter what they say,
Just gonna be high.
despite the fact that this could be a life-changing experience. You could be saving your own life by listening. I mean, that's pretty. But when you say stuff like that,
Mm.
you're pretty much talking about um, that's a regular thing these days. Most people don't listen, but it's usually something about saving their life that could save their life.
Yeah, bro. When people tell
Because
me,
if
"Oh, I read your thing," I was like, "Raw, did you?" They're like, "Yeah." I was, "Oh,
I, yeah, I did it when I first came in on the live.
mm.
Yeah, the whole discussion was supposed to be about purpose.
Oh,
So
we've definitely answered that in different perspectives for sure."
mm, definitely, it was is somewhat unorthodox compared to how I usually do it.
As
But
it
that's
should
what I want
be.
to do. Exactly. That's how I want it to be. I don't want it to be at least if it's live and it's nice, just open talk, you know.
Yeah, man,
And
bro. Plenty of fun,
next
as
time,
always.
absolutely, man. But yeah, it's been great. It's been great. Another one for the books, my bro.
100%, man.
Another one for the books. This is the start of something. You know,
Definitely.
so
Radio.
just gonna keep going. radio.
Yeah, bro, you got the
And
beats, man. Just play that at the beginning.
yeah, I'm still I still don't spend enough stuff time here to be savvy fully,
Hmm.
but I'll get used to it. You know,
If
learning
not
to get
now in
some
your
tunes
head.
and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna have a few. We're gonna invite some people on as well to just
Yeah,
chat
that's
with
going to
us
be fun.
and make it a vibe, the night vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Come
man.
in with this bunch of artists, just talk. That's the plan.
Yeah, I'm with it, bro. Grateful to be a part of it, for real.
Of course, man. That's what we do. But I appreciate you, man.
Likewise, bro.
It was support your voice. I appreciate that.
Likewise.
All right, just gonna wrap this up. But yeah, man. Thanks for coming through. Take care, everyone.
You too, man.